G'day YouTubers. Um, Another video today. Today I want to talk about something a bit different and just how my training's going and what the goals are for the rest of the year. Yeah, so what I'm just want to get on with is this is for beginner runners really, or maybe people who have been running or maybe training up for their first marathon, or it could apply even to people that have done, a lot of marathons. Well, so something I've been thinking about lately about the training is um, things I've learned over the last couple of years and that I've put on here in the last videos was that it's the general knowledge that people do a couple of tempo runs a week and a long run and some speed training and the 3 weeks. I think I've put on a few times on my videos, but something else I've just been thinking about, more of a long-term thing to add to your training. I like to do a bit of experimenting, my own testing things out and how the running's going. But anyway, we'll get on with it. So every 3 weeks when you train, if you're training up for a marathon or half marathon, in that block of training, a 16 weeks or 18-week plan, you usually is getting closer towards that day, month or 2 months to go, 3 months to go. You're slowly building up that mileage. Like I'm just saying, say it's the first year that you're pretty much getting into training for a marathon. You slowly build up, whether it's 50 k's a week. But that thing that I've been saying in a lot of videos and you see on all these YouTube channels is 3 weeks you build up those mileage. You keep it to 50 k's and then you build it up to 70 k's on the second week, and you might build it up to 80 k's on the third week, but on that fourth week you have rest. That's what people have been saying. But one thing I've been thinking about lately is how my training's been going on, and I've just been looking back how it's going, and this could apply to people. I've been thinking about how to do like a peak race, a good race, and I think it takes more than a few months, more than 6 months, more than a year. I think it's better to look a bit more sort of bit long term. But I think, especially as you're older, past 40s, this method of training, I think, helps. It's probably general knowledge to people, coaches, or people who know about running. But I've found this out through my own training and observing what I do. And it is the first year, you can build up your mileage, and if you get to about 70 k's, 80 k's, that's probably enough to do a marathon, or plenty enough to do a half marathon. That first year, if you can build that up to about 80 k's, from the first year, but the second year, maybe you do another couple of marathons, one in spring and then one maybe later on in the year, towards the end of summer. But and on the second year, you might be building your Ks up. You're progressing from the first year to that second year to building your mileage up to 100 Ks the first week, 120 Ks the second week, and on the third week you might be doing 130 Ks. But then in that fourth week, you do that usual resting, cutback, so your body will absorb the training. So that's what I've been doing for like the last 3 years. But what I'm saying is, you might have a peak marathon that year, but I think you really want to aim for like at minimum 3 years to get a peak marathon for the 3 years. So the third year you might be regularly doing the 30k runs. For each of those years you should be doing one long run anyway, and tempo runs. But on that third year, I think you should aim for your peak marathon if you want a good time, and like train 120 k's, 130 k's, that's building up to those the training block. But and then at that end of the third year, I believe you should be capable of doing your peak marathon for that block of 3 years. And well, it just worked that way with me. I just went that way. I just wanted to build up my mileage slowly the first year, second year, and third year. But this year, a little bit injured. But looking back on my training, I'm just saying on the fourth year, I would say looking a bit more long term in the way marathons go, on that fourth year, purposely cut your mileage back for that year. Because it's sort of common sense, really. You can't just train and train hard first year, second year, fourth year. But if any coaches on here, I'd like to hear some comments. There might be people, and it's to do with your age. If you're in your 30s, of course you can train maybe 4 or 5 years, keep on building and maximum effort training each year. But I believe as you get older, it could even apply to when you're beginners who are training in their 20s and 30s. But I believe it's just one thought I've got, and I want to hear comments from people. If you think I'm talking a lot of rubbish, put your comments down the bottom here. But I want to know if you think it's that if that's what people do build into their marathon plans. Let me know what you think. But I like to prove me wrong. But I think it's just a good way of looking at the training. On that fourth year, cut it back, your mileage, to give your body a rest. And then you probably have to build it up, but definitely have a rest on like a fourth year. Because if I look at my training here on Strava, if I look at my training on the Strava, let's just hang on for a second. I'll just go into here. Say 2018. There's 2018. I did 1,900 kilometers and 65,000 meters elevation. Is that right? Something wrong there? That's what the Course Watch read. Someone could put us right there. Is that reading right? 65,000 meters elevation in 2018 and 1,900 kilometers. So that's what I do. That's my usual loop around the trig and the bush. I mainly run on the trails. That's 2018, 1,900 kilometers, okay? So then we go on to 2019. I did 2,933, so it's brought up some more there, and 184,000 kilometers, meters elevation. Seems way too much, but unless Strava's reading it wrong, but I think that's right. Somebody put us right if you know about that. And that was 2019, and then last year went from 1,900 to 3,678 kilometers with 130,000 meters elevation. So to me, that was hard training for those 3 years. Steadily training, steadily improving for the 3 years. But what I want to say in this video was that on the fourth year, just like you cut your fourth week back in your training, when you're building up in that marathon block, I'm just saying if you're looking a bit more long term to do a good marathon and a peak marathon, cut it back. If you can't just continuously, work your body. So each year, more and more and more, you have to have time down to just rest the body and reset. But I'm just saying, does anyone train similar to that type of thing? And what else I've been doing here is earlier in the year, I put on my video, I did Hawke's Bay Marathon. I am registered for Tauranga Marathon, and because I was a bit injured about a month before Hawke's Bay, I ran Hawke's Bay Marathon, and it was good, had fun, but I wanted to do a marathon, 100% fit. So I've been adding a bit of, because a lot of YouTube channels say a bit of strength training, so I've just been, the first time ever, just been adding a little bit of weight training here. And what I usually do, what I've been researching a bit, is there's certain weight training that you do are good for runners, and here's a couple of them. This is just the first effort at doing the weights, and not very heavy weights. I'm just gradually putting it into my routine of weights. And what I've learned on different sites and different people is you do 3 sets of 8 or 10 reps, but 3 sets of each of these movements you do. I'm still looking for ones that runners do, but one I found on, I think, who was it, Nick Simmons' site that he does for runners, but a weight training, and that's the weights on the shoulder, and stepping up a step is supposed to be really good for runners. It strengthens the glutes and everywhere, and squats, and a few others. But there were some other exercises I didn't want to put on there just to take a whole night up doing that. But that's what I've been doing, and other than that, and before I did a bit of weight training, just did a few bit of foam rolling. and running's going all right. I'm not doing any big mileage at the moment. There's still, still recovering, slowly recovering, and just enjoying getting out into the trails. Let us know how your running's going, what events are coming up. I paid for the Wellington Half Marathon last year, and it was cancelled because of lockdown, but I just found on the news tonight, Wellington, because there's been a virus that's coming to Wellington from Australia, travelling back and forth to Australia, Wellington Marathon will not be on, so that's really bad for all the people that have been training. That's sad. I know exactly what it feels like. It happened to me last year, but to do it twice is ridiculous. But some ways for me, I wasn't going to do the one on this Sunday coming up, the Wellington Half Marathon. I was booked and registered for the Half Marathon. I wasn't going to do that one anyway because I was not 100% with the injuries that I've had. So yeah, that's what I want to make today. If anybody's getting into beginning runners, half marathon, look a little bit more long term. Look at that training that people do the same as you would train for 3 weeks, and then building your mileage up, and then that 4th week, cut it back. Same thing with a bit more longer term. If you want that peak marathon and get a good race, build up for 3 years. 4th year have a race. Cut the volume up. Not so much the speed. I'm not talking much the speed, but the volume of mileage you do in elevation, definitely. That's just what I've learned through running, mainly hills and training. I can't say about on the flat intervals or track running. To me, is the bush is where I like doing my training, and if you do like that too, do some comments down the bottom, and I'll see you in the next video. Awesome.
Replays of the events on Twitter. So like Twitter has been keeping me abreast of what's going on with the track trials. I haven't actually sat down to watch. I have a lot of it taped and recorded, so I can watch it later, and I'll know who wins what. But as far as like the prelims and stuff go that I have, like I'm not gonna remember. So it'll be fun to kind of watch people race, but. Yeah, but I don't know. Well, we were gone last weekend, and then I don't know, just kind of got away from me, and then just by the time I I'm always on my phone, always looking at Twitter, so I already know. So it's like, well, I'm not gonna go playing. So there's that. But that race was a tremendous finish. All right, Dylan Barstow says I PR'd at Montrose track today with a 19:44 for the 5K. Nice work. Where's that sound? There we go. Yeah, there we go. Good job, Dylan. First sub 20. That's speedy. Really good workout there today. Nice. Yeah, Martha also wondering what happened.